Hello everyone, it's Kari, and today I am excited to share with you my unboxing of my brand new watercolor set. This is the 36 pan set from Altenew, and look at those beautiful colors. Today we're going to test these out. I'm going to break them in and I'm going to share my very first watercoloring project with them today. And I am going to also tell you the best way to get to know your watercolors. So let's jump right in. This has a watercolor pen that comes with it, and I filled it up, and I usually get it started on the outside of my hand here so that I can make sure the water is flowing. And now I'm just dropping in 2 to 3 drops of water in each pan. This is the watercolor set here. I'm going to drop those water in to soften each of the watercolors so that I can go ahead and swatch these out. Now you might not know, but Altenew has a swatch page already created for you. It's got the names of all the watercolors and everything you need on their website. I will put a link to that below in the description, so if you're interested. This is what I printed out, and I just printed it out on regular computer paper, and then I took it to my copy center and I copied it onto watercolor paper so I could swatch all these colors and learn a little bit about them each. I did scale the size of it down just a little so that I would be able to eventually laminate this and put it in with my watercolor set. I wanted it to fit right inside the watercolor case, so I had it for easy reference. Now this watercolor set, I thought I would give it a try first. I'm trying to go for a gradient, and I found that I like to use a regular round paintbrush when I'm doing my gradients. I like it better than a water brush, although a water brush is really great when you're traveling or when you're doing some simple watercoloring. I love them as well. For this particular project, I am going to use a regular paintbrush. This is my Nuvo brush, and I'm not sure the size of it. I think it's a number 2 or a number 4. But anyway, I'm putting down a lot of color at first, then I'm dipping it into my water, pulling that color down, dipping it into my water again, and pulling it even more down so I get that gradient look, so I can see what these colors look like swatched out. Now you can see that on the bottoms of each of these is the name of the watercolor. Since I've already softened them all, I didn't want to I didn't want to take them all out and check on the color, so I am hoping, and I am crossing my fingers, that these colors are in the exact same arrangement as this watercolor pan swatch that they have on their site. As far as I can tell, it is. And so, good thing for that, because I didn't check that ahead of time. So now I am just taking each of the colors and putting them in their respective color boxes here. I'm just kind of matching them up from where they are in the watercolor pan set to where they are on this paper, and just dragging that color down so that I can swatch all these colors. Look how yummy these colors are. I'm super excited. I've been waiting for this watercolor set for a while. It took me some time to order it, and I finally did, and now I just can't even wait to use it. So I am speeding this up. I think this is like 20 times speed. I did take my time doing this because I think swatching out colors is so therapeutic. It's so fun, relaxing. And I just love to see all the beautiful colors as they come to life. So I did speed this up so you could see all of those colors and just how beautiful they are. If you want to put a dark line through each of these, like a Sharpie, that will tell you the opacity of each of them and if you can see through them. I did not do that. I just wanted a nice little swatch chart here. Now I'm going to get into my watercoloring, my first watercolor project with this set. I was inspired by Jen Raza from Altenew because she took her stamp. This is the Iris Paint-A-Flower, I believe it's called. The Iris, I'll link it for you. But this one, I was just anxious to color it. My mom loves irises, and so this reminds me of her. And so anyway, Jen, in her class, she heat embossed her image with a gold embossing powder. So I thought I would do that as well on mine, and it turned out so beautiful. I am taping my watercolor panel down to this board here. I put it on a board so that I have the ability to turn it if I need to. I still haven't removed the plastic from this board, so you see that there. But what I do is I just take some purple tape and I try to make it all even all the way around. Taping it down also does prevent the watercolor paper from warping so much if you use too much water, and I really like to keep my project flat. So I am starting with the stems because I was a little intimidated by those irises. I'm not going to lie. You might feel this way when you start watercoloring with your watercolor sets as well, when you're using a new medium or something similar. So I thought, you know what? Just jump right in. You might be intimidated, but that's okay. Let's start with the easiest parts, or so I thought. So I went ahead and I added some clean, clear water to the leaves, and then I dropped in the green color that I'm using here. And some of it I just let the water do the work, and some of it I allowed, I just kind of drug the color out just a little so that I could make sure I was getting that green darker in spots and lighter in spots. And for this part here, I'm starting on the smallest iris bud, and I am adding some clean, clear water and then dropping in some of that purple. By the way, the purple is called Deep Iris. Isn't that perfect? Well, where do you think I got my inspiration on what color to use? It's perfect. So for the larger irises, I wanted the centers of them to be yellow, as a lot of irises are in the center a different color. So I dropped in some of the bright yellow there, and then I'm allowing that to dry. So while that's drying, I'm going to go ahead and tackle the outer petals. And this one, I got a little too much color going on here, so I'm just gonna dab that up. But I'm basically doing the exact same technique this entire time. I drop in clean, clear water first, and then I drop in some dark color and let the water pull the color out. Sometimes I do have to encourage it just a little bit, which is also okay. But most of the time, this really was amazing. I love watching watercolor, especially when I try not to take control and I just let the water and the paint do their thing. By this time, the yellow in the center of the iris was just about dry, so I started on some of those petals that were close to the yellow, and I am trying to stay away from two petals that are touching each other. I didn't want the water to jump from petal to petal so as to make it look like one big blob of a flower. Instead, I wanted the petals to remain their own distinct layers. And it does help to heat emboss so that you do have those separate layers. So I really love heat embossing while doing watercolor. I recently did attempt doing a no-line watercolor project. That is on my blog if you're interested and you want to go see it. It's the one just before this. I might throw a picture of that in the end here too. And that one didn't include any heat embossing at all. Here is my finish iris project. I removed the tape. I did consider doing some more watercoloring around the flowers, but in the end decided to keep it this beautiful white. I love the watercolor paper that Altenew put out. It is pretty white. It is much whiter than my other watercolor papers that I have that are usually a much creamier color. So this was really fun. I am putting on a small sentiment here because I didn't want to cover up that beautiful watercolored flower, and I'm going to pop up the sentiment on some foam tape, and I'm also going to pop up this panel. You'll see I cut it down so that it had a nice border around the edge, and the sentiment says, "No one can limit your greatness." Isn't that a beautiful sentiment? I gold heat embossed that on black so that the gold embossing would match the flowers. And to finish it all off, I added some iridescent sequins. These are the ones that don't have a hole in the middle. So I really love that. And look how beautiful this swatch looks with the watercolor pan itself. I am not going to close that up until I laminate this. And then my swatch chart will be protected. Here is our final project and our card. Isn't that iris set just so beautiful? And here is a picture of the no line coloring I promised to show you. This is using the exact same watercolor set, this time no embossing and very little lines. I have enjoyed getting to know this watercolor set. I hope you enjoyed it too, and I hope you have some new tools on how to get to know your supplies and to feel a little more comfortable with them. I hope you will give this a try, and if you do, please tag me on social media. I would love to hear from you. Thank you so much for watching. Please give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this project, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.